This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Airports in Wisconsin are getting a share of $34 million from Washington for upgrades. The airport in Appleton is getting $3 million to add on to its terminal building. The airport in Madison is getting $6 million to fix up its taxiways. The Wisconsin Supreme Court hears a case today brought by a conservative activist who wants records opened in order to find ineligible voters. It's the latest attempt by people who question the outcome of the 2020 presidential race to cast doubt on the integrity of Wisconsin elections. Donald Trump appears to be managing expectations about tonight's debate with Kamala Harris. Melissa Kay has more.
At a rally in Mosinee on Saturday, Trump told 7,000 supporters he won't be treated fairly. He offered a potential preview of attack lines and accused Harris of covering up concerns about President Biden's health. Tonight might be the only debate between the two. Melissa Kay, Civic Media News.
People still making up their minds about their choice for president have plenty of opportunities to size up the candidates. UW Green Bay political scientist David Helpap encourages voters to do their homework.
Check the facts, go to news sources, reputable news sources. There are some nonprofit organizations out there that try to provide good, nonpartisan, unbiased information.
Tonight's presidential debate coverage begins on many civic media stations and online at 7:30. Wisconsin wildlife officials are encouraging hunters to get their deer tested for chronic wasting disease this fall. Testing helps scientists understand CWD better. Public health officials say people shouldn't eat venison from a deer that's tested positive. Hunters should also tell the DNR about any sick or dead deer they come across. Pro-Palestinian campus groups at UW-Milwaukee are no longer suspended after students were cleared of all criminal charges that they engaged in hate speech. The chancellor's office says none of the social media posts in question were actual threats against Jews or Israelis. One group says it will keep pushing UWM to break ties with Israel over the war in Gaza. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now, here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The Brown County Sheriff's Office took to Facebook Monday to warn residents not to be taken in by a scam. They say there's been a surge of calls to residents by someone who identifies as a member of the Sheriff's Office and then demands Bitcoin for active warrants. Another scam in the area is happening through email that includes victim's name, phone number, and sometimes a photo of their house demanding Bitcoin payment. The Sheriff's Office says do not fall for the scam. Wisconsin is right in the middle of the pack when it comes to people losing money in cryptocurrency scams. A new report by the FBI ranks Wisconsin as 25th. Wisconsinites have lost over $35 million to cryptocurrency scams in over 700 complaints of fraud. The scams mostly impact people in their 60s or older, but can happen to anyone. The report says across the country in 2023, victims reported $5.6 billion in losses, a 45% increase from 2022. The American Psychological Association says 22% of teens have seriously considered attempting suicide. Bellin Health pediatrician Dr. Sherry Hoyman says checking in with your children, talking with them, is the most important thing you can do.
Don't let them be in their room all day long and not check in on them, right? Eat dinner together. Talk about the day. If your child needs help, get them some counseling. I always tell my patients, I believe every single person needs a counselor. You need your hairdresser, you need your doctor, you need your dentist. You should have a counselor too. That's part of your team.
September is Suicide Prevention Month. The Nelson Family Fund is giving the city of Kaukauna a $240,000 grant to replace over 2,700 feet of boardwalk along the Fox River. The Thousand Islands Environmental Center Boardwalk project will include hand railings, benches, multilingual signs, and more. The first phase, replacing the boardwalk, is expected to be completed by the end of January. The inland trails will be completed by April. A Sheboygan police officer shot a 23-year-old suspect Sunday night. A press release says police responded to the call of a man waving a gun around. When officers approached the suspect, he lunged at one, assaulted him, and took the officer's gun. The second police officer fired on the suspect, who was taken to the hospital for his injuries. Both officers involved have been placed on administrative leave. West Bend Police Department will take over the investigation. Applications are now being accepted for a grant program aimed at small businesses through the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. The Small Business Development Grant can provide funds ranging from $50,000 to $250,000 to regional economic development organizations and local governments. Those organizations will then pass the funds to small businesses in the region. The application deadline is October 18th. And that's what you need to know. I'm Lisa Hale, WGBW News.
The Packers will have to get by without QB1. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kuska with sports, filling in for Mike Clemens. Jordan Love is expected to miss 3 to 6 weeks with an MCL sprain, and head coach Matt LaFleur says they won't risk anything with his injury.
If he gets cleared, we'll give him every opportunity like we always will, and I know he's doing everything in his power. I know he's spending a lot of time trying to get back as soon as possible, but certainly we're not going to put him in a position where if he can't protect himself that he'd go out there.
On Sunday, it will be the Green Bay Packers taking on the Indianapolis Colts as each team seeks its first victory. Wisconsin football plays Alabama this week, and head coach Luke Fickell says the defense will need to play smart.
Sometimes, and these are the situations where, guys, you can't be thinking about the big plays. You got to be thinking about the real consistent, sound things, because if you get out of place on a team like this, and in particular a quarterback like this, there's some really bad things that can happen.
Kickoff is at 11 a.m. Saturday. And tonight, the Brewers begin a 6-game road trip in San Francisco. Filling in for Mike Clemens, I'm Jimmy Kuska for Civic Media Sports.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. The summer blockbuster season might have come and gone, but the franchises are still providing big box office returns. Beetlejuice led the way at last weekend's box office with $111 million at the gate. The Tim Burton-helmed film starring Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara, and Winona Ryder is the third largest opening weekend for a film in 2024, according to Deadline. The film is already in the black just from its domestic opening weekend alone, as it cost $100 million to make. The film had an impressive haul on Sunday with $27 million, despite the opening weekend for the NFL. Deadpool and Wolverine is showing incredible legs at the box office, coming in at second place with a take of over $7 million. Ditto for Reagan, the Ronald Reagan biopic starring Dennis Quaid, that claimed the third spot with $5.2 million. Alien Romulus took fourth place with a $3.9 million take, and the surprise hit It Ends With Us rounds out the top 5. The Blake Lively film took in $3.7 million for its fifth week in theaters. What the show Friends brought in comedy, it lacked in diversity, according to actor Adam Goldberg. The Saving Private Ryan actor played Chandler's roommate Eddie for 3 episodes. Goldberg, who is Jewish, said the lack of diversity on TV at the time was insane and says he was a Friends snob because of this and declined the role when first offered. In retrospect, he said he is proud to be part of the show's legacy and loved working with the late Matthew Perry. If Springsteen fans are wondering why the boss's bandmate and wife, Patti Scialfa, has been on again, off again since 2018, it's because she revealed she's been battling blood cancer. The information was revealed during a documentary that premiered at the Toronto Film Festival about the boss called Road Diary. The 71-year-old Scialfa joined the E Street Band in 1984 and married Springsteen in 1991. Road Diary will be available to stream on Hulu and Disney October 25th. Eminem fans take note, the rapper will open the Video Music Awards. Eminem is nominated for 8 awards. On his last VMA appearance, he shared the stage with Snoop Dogg in 2022. The last time he opened the VMAs was 2010. Deadline reports that if Eminem wins even one of his 8 nominations, that would make him the most decorated male video music award artist in history. He has a total of 67 nominations, which is second only to Madonna. The Video Music Awards will be broadcast Wednesday, September 11th at 7 p.m. Central on the MTV networks. There is nothing like a good snubbing. In this year's Country Music Awards, Morgan Wallen leads the field with 7 nominations, 4 for an album called I Had Some Help, on which he collaborated with Post Malone. Notably absent from the CMA nominees was Beyoncé for her album Cowboy Carter. Cowboy Carter was number 1 on the country charts for 4 weeks. The 58th annual CMA Awards will air November 20th on ABC. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
We could catch an isolated sprinkle or two at some point today, otherwise partly cloudy, a little breezy with a high in the low 80s. Tonight, partly cloudy, upper 50s to low 60s, and then tomorrow it'll be partly cloudy, not as breezy, with a high in the low to mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently, it is 60.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM.